has blessed you.
You got to understand, I've done conventions before with guests that have been nightmares, and all of you have been just sweethearts. I can't say enough about you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan, for putting all this together.
Well,
thank you, Dan.
My pleasure, my honor. Again, hearing from folks like Joel and Michael, and some of our folks that, unfortunately with COVID, we've had a lot of folks that have been locked down, and a lot of folks have not had an opportunity to be with their con families, as they put it. And I know, unfortunately, you folks haven't had a chance to see your fans as well. We just figured this was a golden opportunity to kind of put everybody together for a weekend. And even if we can't be together, we can still be a part of each other's lives, at least for a weekend.
And I'm a survivor of it, too.
Yeah.
Me too. Stay COVID-free, everybody. Be safe, healthy.
Yeah.
Everybody stay safe. Happy, healthy 2021, everybody.
Well, Joanna and I will be here for the next go around. I think Shannon's going to be here for the next one too, aren't you, Shannon?
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike and I will be here too, aren't we, Mike?
Oh, good.
Yeah, we're here again. Yeah, we're here.
To me, it's a very, very important topic of why the world still needs heroes, because we certainly haven't had many in the last few years.
True. We have them here.
Oh, and by the way, for those of you that may not be sticking around, if you Facebook me, I have been banned from Facebook for the next 72 hours. So I won't be able to face you back until probably Wednesday.
Oh my God, what'd you do?
What happened?
What happened?
I referred to somebody in a high office in our country as white trash. And
Ouch!
And I was instantly eliminated. So if I offend anybody because of your political preference, I apologize. But I speak my heart. Joanna knows that. Michael knows that. John knows that. Joel knows that. Anybody that knows me, I'm a real black and white kind of guy. There ain't no gray about me. And if you do Facebook, Joel, if you Facebook me, Joel or Michael, it's not that I'm ignoring you.
No worries.
Hey, Brian.
I spoke the truth, and it said white trash, and I was immediately.
Humanity first. Humanity first.
I was going to say you were banned for telling the truth.
I was banned for telling the truth, and I'm proud of it.
Good. Me too. I'm proud of you.
Can I Facebook you, Michael Gray?
And I want to thank everybody for joining us for our last panel of this weekend's Celebrity Super Friend, our virtual Super Friend celebration. We have had a wonderful weekend. We've had a lot of fun. And
over too quickly.
We did. It went way too quickly. But as tradition with our show, which we started last time, we usually try to end with a little bit more somber thought. And Kelly, you had a request. Who was it you wanted me to unmute? Oh, I didn't. Hold on. I didn't unmute Kelly, my co-host. I apologize.
John Payne is still muted.
I unmuted myself.
Oh, okay.
Because there's two of me. I was just making sure I didn't want to step on your toes. Also, my friend Luke would like to ask a question, so we'll have to, if we could give him the floor at some point.
Sure. No, by all means, please join me. I'm not doing this by myself. So you started this with me. You're going to finish it with me.
All right.
As I said, we've had a lot of fun. We've had a lot of laughter. We've had some really good times. But part of this has come from our love of superheroes. Superheroes represent to me justice, morality, making the tough decisions that a lot of people can't sometimes. Being a hero is something I don't think I'd want to wish on anybody, because that's when you've got to make the tough choices. But yet there are people out there every day, I think, that are heroes. Not just the people who risk their lives, but people who risk their emotions, people who risk their feelings by putting it on the line to reach out to strangers and ask, are you hurting? What can I do to help? Or ask, what can I give of myself that you need? And that's why we posed the question this time, does the world still need heroes? Or why does it need heroes? Because it seems like a lot of folks out there are wondering where the heroes have gone to. I'm a firm believer that there are still heroes out there in the world. They aren't big and bold. They aren't the ones that call attention to themselves. They're usually the ones that do things quietly, that never get the attention that they deserve. But I still believe that there are heroes out there, and I still think they're needed more than ever. I think more than ever we need people willing to step up and do the right things, even when they aren't the easiest thing to do. And I'm going to open the floor to anyone else who'd like to say something. Kelly, you said your friend Luke, do you want to go and ask his question now or make his comment now?
Yeah, Luke, why don't you unmute yourself and ask your question, and then we'll go from there.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Luke. How you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for all your time. I'm in the UK. It's getting a bit late here, but I wanted to jump on and say hello. And
Hello,
just
Luke.
thank all the, hello, there's lots of people going on. So thank you to everyone that's taken their time to not only create this event, there's a lot of work gone into this, but Shannon, if I may ask you a question.
You may.
Thank you so much. I can hear you in my ears and I feel as if I'm speaking to Wonder Woman directly.
You are.
Oh, there we go. There's the tingles. Now, I must say, you aren't the first Wonder Woman that I've spoken to, but you are still just as charming.
Oh, thank you very much.
So I've asked this question to a few other people before, but I would love to know, what does Superman and Wonder Woman mean to you especially? I would love to know why you feel that Wonder Woman is such an essential hero.
Because she's the archetype that all women should pay attention to and strive to let out of themselves. They've already got it. All women have the strength and the endurance and the love and the power and the beauty and the need to make harmonious situations in every situation. But they have been taught to get in the background for a long, long, long time. And until we embrace our power, we can't let our hero out.
A very good answer. I've been raised by an army of independent, strong women. I work with many women, so I've grown up learning my place in the world. And I would just like to say thank you for all you've done for the world of the superheroes, and I'm glad that you are still getting the credit that you deserve. So thank you for answering my question.
That's very kind. Thank you.
That was it. That's me. I'm done. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Luke.
Luke, I was going to say, if you'd like to join us for our discussion, I know you're supposed to do some panels with us this weekend. If you'd like to, you're welcome to join us now.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I'm a night owl. It's only 10 o'clock in the evening, so I'm here for as long as you need me. I'll tell you what, Michael, if I could ask you a question, that would be lovely.
Hello,
Michael?
Hello, Michael. Mr. Gray.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Thank you very much for
Hey, Luke.
all your hard work and your dedication this weekend. I would love to know if you could share your favorite fan interaction moment with everybody.
I've had so many different fan interactions. I couldn't pick one, to be honest with you, because before Shazam, I was in all those teen magazines, so I had confrontations with fans all over the place, meetings with fans all over the place. I couldn't pick actually one instance that stands out, except like I was saying earlier, when I'm doing the Comic-Cons recently, just the fans that I've met that thanked me and John so much for changing their lives, making lives better for them because they had horrible childhoods. And there's so many of them. I couldn't pick one in particular, but literally every time I do a Comic-Con, I said a little while ago, dozens of people tell me how much the show helped them get through life and made them a better person that they are today. So it's nice to hear that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's obviously something that doesn't really get old when you get such wonderful feedback like that, and you know that's job satisfaction for you, isn't it?
And years ago too, when I was doing before Shazam, when I was in fan magazines, I would actually Target Magazine would drop off a bag full of mail for me, like once a month or something, and I'd go through them personally. And sometimes I get letters from people that were so sad, I would actually call them, blow them away, Just call them and say, maybe I can help you with something. This is Michael. Thank you for contacting me. I can help you do something. You want, happy to. You know, what can I do? What would you like? So I love my fans. I have since 1968. Literally. If it wasn't for the fans, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I think they're the best people in the world.
And that's it. You know, that's again.
Your fans.
That's why we still need heroes. That small acts of just replying to a letter or a telephone call, you made that person's day, possibly their life. And I feel, Dan, as you said so beautifully at the beginning, we can all be someone's hero. We don't have to put on the cape as such. We just have to be there for them. So just like we're all here this weekend, you're all heroes without capes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your...
Oh, I'm sorry, Luke. No, I was going to say, I mean, I've learned from personal experience sometimes just seeing somebody who's upset and asking them what's wrong, even if they don't tell you, just knowing that somebody cares enough to ask what's the matter can mean the world of difference. And again, I can't imagine the lives that all of you have touched, the hope and the inspiration that all of you have given to people. It's mind-boggling.
So Michael S. in the chat has some thoughts. Michael S., do you want to unmute yourself and just share your thoughts?
Certainly. Thank you, Phoenix Sister. Dan asked a very interesting question, as we all heard, about what happened to heroes. How come we don't have heroes anymore? Or sporadically, if I can use that term. Of course, as we were growing up, we always looked up to police officers. We always looked up to firefighters. We always looked up to first responders. We also looked up to the shows that we watch of superheroes, even live action, our Shazam, our ISIS, and as stated by Luke, that our cast members here, Michael Gray, Joanna Pang-Atkins, Brian Cutler, and Captain Marvel himself, John Davey. They are heroes even without the costumes, because they have a lot of this, the brains, and a lot of this, heart. And teach us all to have that same intelligence and heart and share it with us and put it to good use. Unfortunately, there are those that put on those certain uniforms that are unfit to be wearing it, that they put on a police officer's uniform and tarnish the badge and tarnish the profession. But sometimes you got those that don't have that uniform on, and they still be the heroes. The teachers that we come across, the the other professions, the doctors, the medical professions, which is why I took to heart about that certain 1982 movie that starred Richard Gere, entitled An Officer and a Gentleman. Yes, you have an officer, but always be a gentleman to the public that you serve. In a line from the movie Batman and Robin, that starred George Clooney as Bruce Wayne and as Batman. He's having a discussion with his butler, Alfred, who cared for him since Bruce Wayne was a little child. And what does Bruce Wayne say to Alfred? Not all heroes wear masks. So, as Dan had mentioned, the fact that somebody is there for someone else, even in an emergency, a stranger comes up and saves your life or saves you from harm. That's a hero in itself. Here in New York City, we had a horrific bus accident in which a bus crashed through a fence, and it's one of those long accordion buses. I don't know if any one of you saw what happened. The front half of that accordion bus was dangling off the overpass and down onto the highway. And if you want to, you can go to nydailynews.com to see a photo of that in the archives. But certainly there were plenty of people on hand to save all those passengers and even the driver himself who's facing issues. But yeah, we are lacking heroes because especially of what we saw on January 6th in Washington, D.C. That itself was horrific. And leads you to ask, whatever happened to respecting the rights of others? Whatever happened to loving one another, to go about peace, respect the peaceful transition of power, to live to the spirit of equality, of truth, and of justice? If people just go by the simple common courtesy, can we not be each other's heroes?
I love that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Michael.
Let's give Christian wants to say something too. I hope it's okay that I'm opening the floor to people who feel moved to say something before our panelists get their say. Go ahead, Christian.
Really quickly, hi, how's everybody doing today? I just got in the Zoom meeting. Literally, guys, and I'm not kidding, this is not an exaggeration, about 10 minutes ago, I opened my door and I found an envelope right down my step on the second floor. And it turned out that Amazon didn't even knock or leave this package on my door. They left it on the second level. So I walked down and this is what I found. It just arrived. And I'm glad nobody stole it. But I just literally found it because I came in the Zoom meeting with Joel. I met Joel and Jeffrey and Dan this weekend due to this convention, and I just ordered it, and now I'm trying to get the ISIS one, and I was asking Joel on Facebook about the ISIS one that they're selling for $178 on Amazon, but I found it a Canadian version. But I'm actually interested to find out if anybody knows if that is going to be transferred into a Blu-ray edition. So that, and I just also wanted to thank Michael Gray for the wonderful memories and how much I cared and what I was going through at that time when the show was aired. My parents were divorcing. It was separating. I was just going into high school. I was living in Brooklyn, and first time I'm traveling on the train every day into Manhattan. And it was a big deal for me. And I always look forward to Shazam and ISIS and the lessons I learned. So thank you. Thank you very much. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. It really is nice to hear that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right.
An answer to Christian's question as to whether or not ISIS was going to be released on DVD or re-released on DVD or on Blu-ray, the only way in which that would happen is if DreamWorks, that currently owns the rights to it, makes some decisions to re-release the Filmation material, which they have not made any decisions about at this point in time. My belief and understanding is that they will not be released to Blu-ray or DVD probably ever again, that they'll just be released to streaming content. So there is a budget DVD release that has 10 episodes of ISIS on it, which is, I think, the one that you may have found when you said the Canadian version. There was only one release of the complete set, and that's the BCI Eclipse version, and that is also the only one that has all the extras, the interviews, the commentary tracks, all the extra material, and unfortunately, I know that's going for a huge amount of money, but that's the only way to get the complete series at this point, and for the foreseeable future.
Oh, thank you for letting me know, Andy. The Canadian version is a 3-disc version. and the cover is different, but it doesn't say that the description does not say that it has any extras. It does have all the episodes, but I don't believe it has any of the extra content, which is what I'm looking for.
Right. Canadian version, when people say that online, that usually means bootleg. So and in this case, I would rather that the material be out there. So I'm not complaining about that. None of the actors make royalties or anything else on it. You know, so until DreamWorks starts making it available legally, I'm not going to complain if people get it bootleg, even though it includes our work on it. But try and get the best version you can that way, at least.
Hey, Christian, it's Brian. Let me check around to see if I can find an original box set. I don't know if you heard me earlier. If you Facebook me, I won't be able to answer you for 72 hours. I've been banned from Facebook. So,
why are you sharing your political views again, Brian? What are you doing?
Yes, I was indeed, and I'm very proud of it. Look, I spent 2 years of my life on the fire line in Vietnam. I think I've earned the right to speak my mind about freedom. So let me check around. I have a couple places I might be able to see if I can find the original box set for you. I'll do that this week.
Well,
Brian and I had great discussions on the politics side.
Yeah, we do, Michael. Yeah, I'll check that out, Christian.
Okay, Brian. Well, we're friends on Facebook now. At least I'm following you. So,
yeah.
You know, and I do have your info. So I'll send you that surprise. I told you I was going to send you my record, man, as a gift for all the things you've done.
I'm looking forward to it. But if I don't get back to you until Wednesday or Thursday, you know why.
Okay. You're in Facebook jail.
Please.
Underneath the superheroes?
Yes.
Yes,
we need superheroes.
Yes, with the world being with so unrest this past year, the importance of superheroes are so important. But if you can learn these two very lessons from the ISIS, the moral, one of them being everyone likes the feeling and belonging and being around people, act and think and dress the way we do. Wouldn't it be a dull world if we were all the same? You know, we all can learn from one another. And that goes for someone who seems different than we do. Remember, to some people, you could be the one who's different. And the second one is, she says, people who come from different backgrounds and different countries deserve the same respect we give to anyone else. Putting someone down because they speak a language or is a different color than we are just doesn't make sense. What does make sense is treating others just the way we want them to treat us. So next week, that's so important. If we can learn that, we can be each other's heroes, and we wouldn't have what we have in this world as much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joel.
Well said.
I would like, if I may, I'd like to make a comment. You know, and I couldn't agree with Shannon more. I wish women ran the United States personally. It would be a much better place.
Yes.
But you know, the topic of this was why the world still needs heroes. I like to look at the definition of something. It says a hero is an illustrious warrior, a person admired for achievements and noble qualities, one who shows great courage. And a heroine is a woman admired or idealized for her courage, outstanding achievements, and noble qualities. You know, if we could superimpose that into people's brains and understand the importance of being, it's one of the things I teach all my actors at my studio, is to be other-centered, not self-centered. I mean, Michael Gray and John Davey and Joanna and I had a great person to follow in that respect, and that was Les Tremaine. I've never met a bigger hero in my life the way he lived his life, you know, and if we can just find one or two people like that to mold ourselves after and do our best to follow those people, the world would be a much, much better, happier place. But I do believe in my heart that if women ran the United States, it would be a much better country. That's my political statement for the day. Please don't kick me off of Facebook again.
You're bad, Brian. You're bad.
We're putting you in Zoom jail.
Brian, we're not going to kick you off.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Don't kick me off the superhero show.
Brian, I hate to say it, I think you're stuck with most of us. We're going to be with you for a long time.
Well, I'm a very blessed human being. Then, thank you all.
I do want to touch on what you said as far as like definition. There's a wonderful story I was reading this last week about a waitress that was doing her job, typical work shift and everything. A couple comes in with this little boy, and she notices that the kid's not eating, and she happens to notice that there are bruises on the kid's wrist, and she was going about her typical day, busy, things are happening, but she took the time to try to catch the kid's attention and she wrote down a note, "Are you okay?" And she said it broke her heart when the little boy shook his head. And it turned out to be this kid, the guy who was with this family was the stepdad who had been abusing this kid physically. And they were saying that if this woman hadn't stepped in, God only knows what would have happened to this child. I know it's easy sometimes to keep your head down and not try to see the things that are going around you, just focus on your own business. Sometimes taking that courage and just seeing something, just stepping in, it's hard to do. But I think that's what a hero does, is they step up and they do the hard thing. That they don't do it for praise. They don't. This is one of those stories that I think just happened to catch the right news cycle. Otherwise, it would have just, the cops would have come, they would have helped the child, and no one would ever know what this woman did.
You know, that has special significance in the world of women. How many of you have heard women with the voices are way up here or in their nose or quiet or swallowed? It's because they've grown up without really feeling the freedom to speak their voice, to step forward and say what they're feeling or thinking.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it reminded me of a story I remember hearing about a young girl that finally had the courage to step up and talk about how she'd been abused in her family, only because she saw that there was a danger that her father was going to start abusing her younger sister. She was willing to take the hits, or her sister didn't have to, but when she saw that her sister could be in danger, that gave her the courage that she needed to step forward and say, "We need help. You can't do this to her." And in the process, she realized, you shouldn't do it to me either. And I guess for me, the term hero gets thrown around a lot with celebrities and such. You know, kids look up to people who are loud and boisterous. They do dangerous things. They do engage in dangerous lifestyles. They look at somebody and say, "Well, that guy's a hero because he's dating a really hot girl," or "That woman's really a hero because she's outrageous and, you know, just shocking." But I always thought being a hero was somebody, it's a quiet dignity about it. It's doing it not, it's not saying, "Look at me, look at me, look at me." It's more a case of, "I'm looking at you, I'm protecting you." And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of heroes don't get noticed, is because they don't call attention to themselves. They don't say, "Look at me." And I think somebody who does that, it's kind of like the opposite of being a hero sometimes.
May I throw something in? May I throw something
in?
Okay. I'm going to say something that's a little bit contradictory to what Brian said. And I think some heroes are loud, boisterous, flamboyant, egotistical, but they're still heroes. they still step up to the plate. They're not popular. A lot of people don't like them. They don't like their personality. They don't like their mannerisms. But they do the job. They step up to the plate. And that's my semi-political statement.
Oh no, I mean you can have somebody who's boisterous.
I think we have somebody in a very high office in this country that has been getting battered and blistered from the very first day he took office and even before. And he's not taken a dime in salary. He's given of himself. He didn't need the job. He's a billionaire. And he's done one of the best jobs in his, being a president in our lifetime, for sure. And end of my speech.
No problem. Oh, no, John. I think there are folks out there that they can be loud and they can be boisterous. I'm just saying that most of the time, like I said, it's just the little mercies that people do, the little small things that nobody ever notices that do that. Oh, believe me, there's some folks out there with huge egos that are heroes. I mean, they know they're great because they know it.
Yeah, but I agree with you to your point that most of the heroes are quiet heroes.
Yeah.
I think Shannon wanted to say something. Let's let Shannon have the floor.
Oh no, I'll pass. It's I know the act to follow always.
All right. We'll move on.
I wanted to let me break in for just a second here. I think one of the things, and I arrived late. I apologize, but
Welcome, Andy.
I had two thoughts to share. One was that we cannot. We can look at other people and call them heroes, but the only people whose actions we can control are ourselves. And if we want to do something to emulate those that we think are heroic, that's our choice, and hopefully a choice that we can all make. And but we can only control ourselves. We can disagree with others. We can talk with others. We can argue with others, but we have the choice to control what we do, not what they do. And which brings me actually to the second point, which is that all our guests have worked on projects that are viewed by many people as life-changing, and that taught them things and so forth. Back during the times that they were working on these projects, that was kind of not seen as cool. The pro-social values that were quote unquote forced upon them by the networks and by the parental groups were often derided by the writers and the producers and so forth. But as we all know, those of us who watch these shows, and I believe all the actors and voice actors and actors and production people who are here today would say, you know, they've heard from fans that those pro-social values often ended up being the thing that was most important about the shows to them. You know, and Filmation had its own way of doing it, which was to put the moral tags on the end, but those stories were also they were contained within the stories, and the tags at the end, the morals at the end were just kind of a, just in case you missed the point of the last 22 minutes.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know, here you go. And, you know, Super Friends had some of the same elements. And you know, Shannon, you voiced several of those where you came on and talked to kids about hitchhiking or about you know, not one of the ones I liked was how to pet a dog properly so it doesn't bite you. You know? And
That's
those might seem silly. What was that?
That's an important lesson.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. They may seem silly to us now as adults when we know these things, but remember that when you watched them the first time when you were young, that was a lesson that you might not have heard otherwise. And so I thank the actors for delivering those lines as heroically as possible to make sure that we were all learning something.
So also, from a little bit different point of view, the superheroes that were on TV gave the fans a chance to dream and fantasize about maybe having some of those superpowers themselves, or being better people or more like them, or step in their shoes, and what it would be like to fly or see beyond what you normally see, and have these special powers. And it was a way for them to dream about being someone else. Maybe they didn't like who they were, or they were struggling with who they were, and they could dream to grow and be these other people and be like the superheroes that they watched.
I want to say what Joanna said. I echoed that last night when I was talking to you and Brian. The shows that you guys made, that gave me my imagination when I was a kid. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it hadn't been for you guys. Like I said, there were the morals of it, but also at the same time, too, it made me think somebody's getting paid to write these scripts and somebody's getting paid to act in these shows. And I'm thinking to myself, I can do that. I want to do that. not for money or fame, but just to use my imagination to be able to write something that hopefully would inspire someone the way you guys did.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thing I think anybody could do as a creator, is be able to do something that touches someone and makes them stop and say, I liked it, I enjoyed it.
I would like to bring up one statement that I think is a good follow-up to an earlier statement.
Yes.
You will recognize a hero when you see that he or she does no harm, only good. And when you know that, there's no discussion to be had, that's a hero. So using the word hero loosely just because it's available does not make a hero. There's a hero in everyone, and everyone has a chance to use it or not.
True.
All right, Michael. Michael S., why don't you speak? Sorry, the conversation's been going pretty quickly. Michael S., why don't you speak up real quick?
Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just to piggyback on something that Brian eloquently said earlier about our female heroes, our heroines. Thank you, Brian. You just reminded me of old school 90s hit from, I'm sure you all heard of Janet Jackson.
Yes.
Everybody got quiet all
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And the song Fender, there's an opening rap line from Jimmy Jam, I think he said. And these words I'll never forget. He said, if it weren't for our mothers, there would be no brothers. And if it weren't for our sisters, there would be no misters. I thought that was so important on paying tribute to women these days. I, for one, am so proud of seeing many women in high office getting into, politics again, some kind of making some kind of history as being, we have the first female vice president coming up. Of course, we've had female attorney generals, female police officers, female firefighters, and a lot of women are getting into professions that were once solely held by men, and that speaks to the equality that we also speak of. But I think, Dan, you mentioned something about the domestic violence that we've been seeing and hearing about. I cannot begin to tell you how passionate I am against that. And I will take on any guy that I see abusing a woman, because that guy shows me, he has no regard for women and thinks he can slap any woman who he comes across. And I'm a married man of 20 years now. And God help him or anybody that turns around and strikes my wife. Because I will hold you down and I will make sure cops get after you. You'll be at my mercy, but I'm making sure you ain't getting away. So, the thing is that that's another issue that needs to be addressed solely. And I think it goes back to what Ms. Shannon said as to why there's some women that do not speak up so much because of the torture that they've been through, perhaps as a child or even going into adulthood. Remember, if it weren't for our mothers, there would be no brothers. If it weren't for our sisters, there would be no misters. When women gave birth to us, gotta honor them and respect them for going through the number of hours of pain and whatever you want to call it to give us.
You can call it pain. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like a pain, so. But
right.
Again, kudos to all the women that are really stepping up and really getting their fair share, their fair shot, and in the roles that they are pretty much perfecting, if I can use that term.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Michael. John Payne wants to say something, and then I think we should give Michael Gray a little chance to speak because he hasn't had a whole lot, because this has been a heated discussion, which is wonderful. But John Payne, why don't you go ahead and say your piece?
Thank you for the opportunity. The thing about heroes, I was thinking about George Bailey and It's a Wonderful Life, and how we don't always realize that we may be the hero in another person's life. Shannon, I've truly enjoyed watching, rather hearing you and watching the Super Friends cartoons throughout childhood, throughout young adulthood, and even as a 47-year-old man. Watching Shazam and all these ISIS, all these wonderful programs growing up in a small little rural area of Kentucky, it provided for me escapism. It provided those moral stories that helped define my character and my behavior over a lifetime. As I got older, I took the experiences of watching these shows and it helped develop my creativity. Whether it was drawing, creating props, my interactions with friends, and what you all did and what you all continue to do in the performing arts is important. We are often found to be the heroes in another story, and I want to thank you all for that. I'll leave it there.
I was going to say, to kind of touch on what you were talking about, the George Bailey effect. Sometimes I think we're not even aware sometimes that we might be the hero in someone else's story. And what's ironic about it is that sometimes we're not even aware of what constitutes being a heroic act. Imagine you're the guy in line and you got the mother who's got the screaming kids and she's fumbling to find her credit card so she can pay for her groceries. One kid's yelling and screaming and everyone's looking at her, and you're the guy who, instead of saying, why don't you control your kids, you're going, it's okay, I've been there and done that, I got kids of my own. Or it looks like you're having a rough day, you try to make a joke of it. Instead of chastising, just offering a sympathetic smile. That can be something that changes someone's life, and you're not even realizing you're doing it. To kind of go back to what Shannon was saying, it's someone who doesn't do any harm at all, and tries their best to do a little bit of good, even when it's just a small act of kindness like that.
And Michael Gray, I feel like you haven't been able to get a word in edgewise. Do you have thoughts that you want to share? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Well, in my opinion, not talking about superheroes on TV or movies, just in the public in general, you know, because I grew up in the 50s. So everything was wonderful back then. And who were my heroes back then? Teachers, hospital workers, my parents, clergy, you know, police officers. I mean, that's where it was back then, and should be that way again. They're all heroes in one way or another. Of course, occasionally a bad element in each one of those, but usually no. Back then, everything was wonderful. It was all like TV shows back then, all family friendly. And so my heroes were my parents. They gave me a great life. They're wonderful people. You know, they were a little overpowering sometimes, only because they wanted me to be safe. That's how I raised my kids. I raised my kids, I mean, same way my parents raised me. So those are my heroes. And I love playing a superhero now because our show was so full of moral values. That's, you know, that's one of the reasons I like doing it so much. I have a lot of favorite superheroes that I watch all the time when I get a chance, but, you know, I like them with moral values. It's very important. The world needs a lot of morals right now.
Michael, I want to echo what you said. My parents were also fantastic. I think the greatest thing they did for me was they didn't understand why I loved superheroes and comic books, but they never said anything about it. They never put me down for it. They never made fun of me for it. They never tried to discourage it. If I loved it, I loved it. My dad, God help me, never understood what I saw in superheroes, but he never said I couldn't enjoy it. I think that's probably the greatest thing another thing that got me through was having parents that understood even when they didn't quite get it.
But did your parents ever watch them with you?
My dad didn't. My dad was not a huge TV watcher, but my mom, once she got a little bit older, she would watch the Marvel movies with me. She loved Christopher Reeve's Superman. And one of my happiest memories, actually, is before my mom had to go into a nursing home. She was having problems with dementia. And one of her clear moments, we were watching Superman 4 at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning when Superman 4 was on. And she was clear enough to be able to enjoy it. And I know a lot of people make fun of Superman 4 as not being the best Superman movie. But I always have a happy memory because of that, because that was the last time my mom and I got to enjoy Superman together.
Sweet.
But no, mom loved superheroes. She was a huge Wonder Woman fan.
Oh, you're just saying that.
No, she was. Shannon, no offense, please. She loved Linda Carter's Wonder Woman.
Oh.
She loved Super Friends.
No.
I think she would have loved the Gal Gadot's first movie. I think she would have loved that too. I think my mom wanted to be Wonder Woman.
Joel has a good point about Superman 4 having an important message that's what I thought too. Like Superman 4, even though it's not a great movie, that speech sticks with me about how Earth will have peace when the people of Earth are so desperate for it that's when we'll have peace. And so Superman 4 had an important message. The rest of it, but it's still. So we're about running out of time, so I'm gonna give some closing remarks. The main question posed was why the world needs superheroes, and as Jeff was joking, look around. Clearly, we need superheroes, and we need heroes. We need real life heroes. Like, you don't have to be super. You don't have to have powers. The last year and a half, there hasn't been a whole lot of hope in the world. But I always go back to the Mr. Rogers quote, and Mr. Rogers resonates with everyone, right? So when in times of trouble, look to the helpers. But a big point about that quote is it's aimed at the kids to give them comfort. So as adults, we have to be the helpers. And so we all have to be the heroes. And so being a hero isn't just like, you know, strapping on a fire suit and dashing into a fire. It's about, like everyone was saying, like showing that kindness, showing that, like I had mentioned with Shannon sharing her loss, like showing that vulnerability so others can be brave to show their vulnerability. I feel like that's one of the most heroic things you can do. Like one of the things I do online is I'll talk about my own mental health journey and be vulnerable to just open that up so others feel okay being, you know, seeking help, talking about it. And because I had friends who talked about it, I was able to seek help and just talking about the real issues so we don't just pretend everything's fine, especially in this past year when everything is not fine. So if you're sitting at home and you're Instagramming and going, oh, life is perfect, it's not. And that's okay. That's okay that it's not, as long as we kind of are honest about it and realize that we're all in this together. And if you go out of your way to make someone's day, that's a heroic thing. And that's what the world needs more of. Like, there's always going to be ugliness. There's always going to be violence. Unfortunately, there's always going to be hate. But what we can do to be heroes is combat that with love. Like that's why Wonder Woman resonates with me, is because her number one weapon is love and truth. And same thing with Superman. It's truth and kindness. And
may I speak just 1 second on that?
Please do.
I want to add, it sounds redundant to say this, but we really only have one rule that we all must follow. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yes.
I don't care what your belief. I don't care what your situation. Just be kind. If you can't do that, then we'll never have peace in the world. And it starts with each one of us.
And remember the important song from Lionel Richie from 1986, Love Will Conquer All.
And it will. It does. Thank God it does.
Well, if you remember an old gospel hymn too, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.
Beautiful. Yeah.
You know.
Starts with us. We don't pass the buck.
Yeah.
Look in the mirror and say, what can I do, or what did I do wrong? How can I apologize? I apologize. Did I hurt you? My apologies. How can I make it better?
Yeah.
Owning it. Like that.
Yeah. You have to own your actions.
Mm-hmm. We all make mistakes, but that's okay. We learn.
And
I'm sorry.
And after what we saw 2 weeks ago, Stevie Wonder's hit song, however, 45 years ago, 1976, he came out with this, Love's in Need of Love Today.
Oh, Jeff, I love this. You have to unmute yourself and say this if you're.
Yes, Jeff.
Well, I'm not muted.
Oh, well, then you have to say it out loud. I like what you put in the chat. You have to say that.
I'm just very quiet here.
I'm sorry. We're
That's
all
okay. You know, first of all, notice that the panel is called Why Does the World Need Heroes? Not why does the world need superheroes? They have their own definitions.
Yes.
As far as a hero, I wrote, as everyone has their own individual definition of the word hero, so is a hero individualized. A hero is a touchstone to others. And each person who comes in contact with that hero takes ways. So a hero is, depending upon who they come in contact with, the way that person is affected by the hero is what it is. For instance, many years ago, decades ago, I used to work as a waiter in a restaurant. Hey, I'm an actor. Why not?
Oh my
You mean
God.
somebody in the
I worked at a
entertainment
place
industry
called
being a waiter?
Shawnee's. Not the greatest place in the world. Anyway, I had recently seen myself in a movie. And it was the first movie that I had lines in. It was a movie called Police Academy 5. And I was very excited about it, and I was very pleased, and I felt my acting life and my career was ahead of me, and all was right with the world. And the energy that I had from it carried over into my waitering. And not too long ago, a couple of years ago, a guy got in touch with me. He said he's been looking for me for over 35 years. I said, who are you? And he says, I remember you waited on me and my family when I was a kid at Shoney's, and you had just done Police Academy 5. I said, okay, yeah. He says, your enthusiasm and your shining from doing that role and your excitement over it convinced me to get into the entertainment industry.
Wow.
Now, this was not something that I sought to do or tried to do or woke up that morning and said, this is what I'm going to do when I get to my job. It's a touchstone moment. And you never know how you are going to affect the people next to you or the people that you come in contact with. We all are each other's heroes if we allow it. We can also be each other's villains if we allow it. The trick is to minimize the villains and accentuate the heroes. The old song goes, accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative. But it's a matter of being aware of yourself. You're aware of yourself, and if you live your life as positively as you can and just keep yourself in the guardrails, which have pretty much been broken lately in these last several years, it becomes a matter of righting oneself and just allowing yourself to be you. And believe it or not, you may not know it, but you will be someone's hero. Even just smiling at a stranger, or even just when asked, excuse me, could you explain this to me? And you say, oh, sure, very easy. Let me show you. And you make it easy for them. You are their hero in that moment. It's I call them touchstone moments, because when you have a bunch of moments like that, it changes your day. It changes the way that your energy goes out into the world. And you have enough of those moments, and the energy compounds onto itself. So more people all of a sudden have these positive moments. The more positive moments you have, the more are created. And it's like a snowball going down a hill. That's just the way it is, energy.
Jeff, if I can touch on what you were saying, I think one thing that a lot of people don't get is that we're in this together.
Yeah.
All of us. And the thing is, one life touches another life, touches another life, touches another life.
Mm-hmm.
You do something to help someone, and then they turn around and they help someone else. They make life better for someone else, and that person goes out there. And it's almost like you're sending good karma out into the universe. You're sending goodness in the universe, and it eventually finds its way. It's positive energy. Energy is never destroyed. It's simply changed from one person to the next person.
And it can be directed.
Exactly. And so, and better yet, it's random. Sometimes it's random. It just goes out into the universe. You never know where it's going to find itself, but you know it's going to do good and it's going to be positive.
Sure.
And I agree with you 100% that, yeah, our actions have consequences, and we can choose to do good or choose to do bad.
Now, that is the way heroes behave.
Yeah.
Now, as far as superheroes, do you remember in Superman Returns?
Yeah.
We live our lives on this little blue marble of a planet, and we exist, and hopefully we're all positive, but there are times when it doesn't work that way. Negative energy creeps in, as it will. An example of a superhero is, remember the image of Brandon Routh in his Superman outfit, floating in space and listening to everything that is going on below him.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he hears that he is needed. And then he takes off down to Earth to do his thing. That is the purpose of a superhero, plain and simple, to pretty much right the energies when that's basically it.
I'm going to have to say goodbye to all of you, and I want to thank you all for being so forthcoming with your thoughts and your questions.
Thank you,
it was an
Shannon.
honor.
Thank you, Shannon. God bless you. We love you.
Bye, Shannon.
It was an honor to meet you.
Everyone take care, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Stay safe.
Hey, hug,
COVID.
Shannon.
Good seeing you again, Shannon.
And I Facebook you, friend. I Facebook Shannon too. I hope she wasn't kicked off.
No, she's
fun. I think it's time to we're past our time anyway, so I think this is a good place to end the panel.
Bye.
Thank you, Kelly.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Joanna,
Joanna, Andy.
Smile.
Everybody
Stay safe, everybody.
healthy and be well.
Dan, thank you for inviting me.
I was going to say,
you, Michael.
Pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Joanna.
Andy, take care. See you soon.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you to all our guests, and thank you to everyone for attending. We really, this has been a fun weekend. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Safe COVID during COVID. Stay safe.
Everyone stay safe.
Thank you for your effort. Thank you for all your work.
Thank you, Andy Mangles. Most important. Without him. Thank you.
Joanna, Brian, it was an honor to meet you both. Michael.
Yes.
It was a pleasure to meet you. John, I wish I could have seen your face, but it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Everybody, you all stay safe and healthy and have a good,
please, everybody.
You too. Thank you
so much.
Absolutely.
Stay healthy, stay responsible.
You too, Jeffrey. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Captain Marvelous, very nice to meet you at last.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Awesome.
Bye, everybody.
Dan, Joel,
And
God bless.
Michael,
Thank
Brian.
I was going to say, Jeff.
Bye, Dan. Thank you. Dan too. Thank you, everybody.